What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to talk about the stock market crash. What's my view of that? Do I think the market will crash at any point into the near-term future? And what I think is going to play out for SPY. Before I bring things up, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just say that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100, you guaranteed 5 free stocks. You deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15. Anyways, for the market, as you guys can see, SPY has been on a very, very strong uptrend. We can actually take some trend lines like this and actually draw out this like support. You can see it's been respecting this channel very, very nicely, continuing to uptrend more and more and more. But now the question that comes to mind is there going to be a stock market crash? Do I think it's going to happen? And as of right now, I do have to note that there's no sign of the stock market crashing just yet as of right now. And in the market's eyes, what's the reason for the market to crash? Could it be the recession that's coming? But right now, the Fed is just continuing to just tell us that, hey, they're not really forecasting a recession as of right now. They're going to be cutting rates relatively soon, and they keep on, talking in a very, very optimistic manner, and the market is liking it. On top of this, we didn't really get a massive contraction in earnings just yet. We did see some misses, some mixed earnings here and there, even from some big tech stocks. But for the most part, earnings are still quite well. That's also helping to fuel this market. But the question is, are we going to see some kind of crash? Is there going to be a correction? In my opinion, as of right now, there's no sign of a stock market crash. I don't see a crash on the chart right now. I don't think it's going to happen, at least for the very, very near term. Now, I do believe in the near term, we could see the market pull back a bit. That is a real possibility, but there's no sign of it starting just yet. So I want to break down exactly why that is. The first thing you have to remember is that we have an election this year. During these election years, the market does tend to be bullish, and they're going to use this as a form of manipulation because millions of Americans look at the stock market as a part of their own portfolios, and they also look at that as a measure of the economy, which is not really accurate, but that is how millions of Americans do see how things are looking. And on top of all of this, let me just say that a lot of people are shorting the market like crazy. They keep shorting and shorting and shorting, expecting the crash, so it's becoming less probable for that reason. And then you also have to remember the fact that there's a lot of manipulation simultaneously going on between these institutions. And we haven't really gotten the really big contraction in earnings that we would like to see for this thing to really turn. So, with that being said, with the election coming up, I don't expect there to be a massive crash or anything like that, at least as of right now. But I can see a pullback, and I want to talk about what you should be watching for. So, when looking at the chart, this is what SPY is looking like on a very, very strong uptrend on the daily. So what could happen is, and this is what the trend is basically telling us, right? We're bouncing off this support. This is our resistance. It's very, very simple technical analysis like this. So the next move down could take us all the way back down to this like 515 or so area if we do end up coming down. But then are we about to get another bounce to just continue higher as time progresses? It's a real possibility. But if SPY were to establish a lower high and end up losing this trend line like right here, then we could start a little pullback very soon. Now, as the market's ripped very high without any sort of pullback, it's very likely that there will be one coming in the second quarter of this year between April and June. It is a real possibility, but it does not have to be a big crash. And that's the mistake a lot of people are going to make. So, what could happen is if we lose this trend line right here, if we finally get a break like this and we establish a lower high, there's a very good chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen in April. It could take another 2 months to happen, 3 months. But by the time it happens, I think we could come down to fill this gap down here at this 497 area. And if we do fill the gap, there's no telling what will happen from there. That does not mean we have to just continue to crash like this. It does not mean SPY is going to crash to 470. It could bounce back up and they could just slowly push it right back up from there. It's a very, very manipulated and tricky market with the election coming up and all these different things. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to manipulate things more and more and more as time goes on. If this is extended a little bit, it could take a little bit longer for that to really play out, right? Maybe we don't end up getting our bottom until closer to like June or something like that. But what could happen is if we do end up forming our bottom in the 490s or something like that, I don't know where it's going to be. So it doesn't make sense to kind of like predict that yet. But we could see a very, very quick recovery after that. And we could just continue moving forward from there after a very, very small little pullback like this. So it could be a lot of manipulation. The election year is coming up, so do not forget about that. And don't forget about all these puts in the market, which are causing the market's just continue to squeeze. So in order for us to see confirmation of a move down, if we lose this trend line right here, the bottom support, that does not mean we're going to crash. That does not mean that. It just means that there could be a little pullback coming. Just because we pull back like 10, 15 points on SPY, that doesn't mean we're crashing, though. There's a big difference. We could come down to this 497 gap and fill it and then bounce right back up. That's always a possibility. We haven't lost key support. We haven't lost critical levels such as this support right here, previous resistance becoming support at 470. We're not even close to the 470s. We haven't even lost like 500. So I don't see the reason why people are talking about this massive crash when it hasn't even started yet. And there's no sign of it just yet. So as of right now, SPY is on a very, very big uptrend. It's continuing to rip upwards. There's no sign of this breaking down just yet. Same thing with the QQQ. Now, the QQQ is also on a very, very nice uptrend right here. As you guys could see, continuing to push and push and push. Could this thing come down to fill this gap way down here in the 425 area, if not below that? It could happen in the future, but I just want to say that we're not there yet. There's no sign of this breaking down yet. And this chart still remains bullish as we've been on a very, very nice uptrend. So for now, the market is still bullish. It's still on a very, very nice uptrend overall. We could see the market turn in the future, but we haven't done it yet, and it doesn't make sense to assume it's going to happen without seeing it. Okay, so will the market crash? The answer is, as of right now, I see no sign of a big stock market crash. I think personally, there's a very good chance there's going to be a pullback between April and June, one of those months. A little hard to predict exactly when because of all this manipulation. But if we do get the pullback, could just be a 5% pullback, a 6-7% pullback. We could see SPY just fill its gap at 497 and then bounce. We need confirmation of a break first. We could see the QQQ either come all the way down to this like 420 area, if not maybe a little bit lower. There's also another gap like right here at like 413, which seems kind of extreme. We could come all the way down to like 413 and then bounce on the QQQ. This is where the previous breakout was, this like 413 area. That's another possibility, right? It could come all the way down there, then bounce later. But that doesn't mean it's a big crash. It could just be a very healthy pullback, and they could always buy things up again and push us for the election year, right? Lots of manipulation is going on. So just know that it makes more sense to just look at the chart for like shorter term trends. Market is very, very volatile, and then give the market the time it needs. Be very, very patient, and we'll see what happens when we get this area. We can't be talking about a crash until we start to see the QQQ lose at least 420 and even like 413. If we start losing that, then there could be some more talk about a bigger drop, a big correction, but it's not the same thing as a big crash that a lot of people are talking about. It could just be a very, very healthy pullback before we continue higher. Okay, so there's a big difference in a crash and a pullback. Please note that and just know the market is very manipulated. Do not fall for all the videos on YouTube saying the market will crash, it's going to crash. We don't know that yet. There's no sign of a crash yet. We're still going to wait and see if we get it. We haven't lost key support yet, so just be patient, do what you have to do, and we'll see what happens moving forward. I personally think there might be a pullback coming during the upcoming quarter, Q2, between April and June, the end of June. I think there might be a little pullback coming, but I don't see any sign, any signal that's going to be a big crash. It could just be a small, healthy one. So just wait and see. Always be open minded and picky with your trades and do what's necessary for your own portfolios. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and peace out.